Scott Pilgrim versus the World is definitely a movie that takes some chances and doesn't care what you think of them. Well, luckily for them, I'm here to analyze those choices. Let's go. I think this movie was alright. I think there was a decent amount of entertainment throughout the movie. I mean, I was locked in through this movie. I feel like it wasn't too boring. Like, it was kind of interesting to see what was going on. I would say it's slightly good. I don't know if I'd say this is a great movie or even a good movie. I would think it's like it's entertaining enough. I can see why there's some people out there calling this a cult classic, but this is not one movie that I'd be really dying to revisit, in my opinion. I guess there's like a comic book lore behind it. There's a new TV show behind it. I'm not going to go check those out, but this was worth a watch just to see what's going on here and check it out. So, some small overview points throughout the movie. I have to start this off by saying this isn't a fucking video game, man. I don't know if this I think this is before Ready Player One. I haven't seen Ready Player One, but the video game stuff was really annoying in this movie. I think this would be a lot better of a movie for me if they just got rid of the video game stuff, the video game animations and the plus 1,000, like the pee. You have Michael Cera peeing and there's like a pee meter. Like, do we really need that in this movie? I think this would be a better movie, even if they had the superpowers that they do and it's like a video game, but I just didn't need those animations. I don't know. It took me out of the movie. And I know this movie's goofy as fuck. It's a fucking comedy, and I'm supposed to be like not caring, but like I don't know. I feel like it tries to be. It's one of those movies that tries to be serious but also goofy at the same time. And I do appreciate Edgar Wright taking some chances. I thought the video game animations were a bit over the top, in my opinion. I would prefer that we just didn't do that throughout the movie, but who knows? My favorite character was not Scott Pilgrim. It was Wallace. We got Roman from Succession in this movie as Kieran Culkin is Wallace. He was so funny, and I really like Wallace he's kind of this like gay roommate character for Scott Pilgrim, but he brought some comedic relief, made me laugh at some points. So I did like Kieran Culkin's character Wallace a lot in this movie. Scott Pilgrim was rootable enough, even though he kind of just does nothing and is kind of just like, I mean, he's just like me, as they say on Twitter. He's just like me out there doing nothing and, getting all these girls. I don't get girls, so maybe he's not like me, but I don't know. He was kind of rootable throughout the movie, definitely rooting for him. And, I thought the seven X's, it's an interesting concept for a movie, having to fight against these seven X's. It's kind of, I mean, I guess the whole movie is a video game of like, you have to beat these X's and you get to get with the girl, right? Interesting concept, funny concept. My favorite was definitely Chris Evans' character. Interesting to see him in this movie in 2010 when, I guess this was before the first Captain America, technically, right? I think that was 2011. So he went on to become Captain America, become big in Hollywood, but he was being an ex to Ramona in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. So that was funny, but I did like Chris Evans' character. The final battle, like, it doesn't really make sense, but it's a video game, so I guess he just like respawns. I don't know. I don't know, but it was my favorite part of this movie is the sample that goes into the Kid Cudi best album of all time, Save 2020, Man on the Moon 3. She knows this, and this quote from Scott Pilgrim literally opens that song. But what if I want the satisfaction? Come on now, goosebumps, chills. So just for that alone, it was worth watching. Cudi sample, so we ball. Wouldn't really be running to recommend this movie to other people. I think you have to be in that kind of like a goofy mindset. Maybe like if you watch this movie Baked, it'd be hilarious. I actually could see that being like a recipe for success. Maybe a Kid Cudi tie in there as well. But if you want to try something different, like this is movies trying to become a fucking video game, so like check that out. But I don't know. I wouldn't be like, you got to watch Scott Pilgrim versus the World. It's kind of just a middling movie in my opinion. So moving on to my thoughts and reactions throughout the film. Right off the bat, we get the signs and the animations. Should have been a warning sign of what we were heading towards. It was a warning sign. I even noted it was a warning sign. And yeah, I mean, it's not for me. I don't know if this is, I know it's a cult classic in some people's eyes. So I don't know if that's what this is about, is like the video game shit was so cool. Like, I don't know what, TV time is down. So I don't know what people are saying about TV time. But I'd like this introduction of him dating this high schooler, Knives Chow, which is just an insane name. But you get to kind of meet the different characters we'll see throughout the movie. Aubrey Plaza, Kieran Culkin's character. So it's kind of cool to see his like surrounding forces kind of roast him. The people in the band roast him about Knives Chow, so that was interesting. Instantly, we would meet Wallace. I'm like, this guy seems awesome, and exactly like Rowan from Succession, he was. He's this. I guess they have. That's a tough living situation where you just have one bed and like a very simple apartment. And this movie was made in 2010, so I don't know. Maybe this is like post housing crisis. Maybe that kind of makes sense. But like, I don't know. They've got one computer in the corner, one bathroom, and one bed to share. They sleep in the same bed. Where sometimes Wallace even brings romantic partners in the bed while Scott is there. So interesting dynamic there, but awesome job from Kieran Culkin. In this one, he was definitely my favorite character. Pilgrim and his crew are like kind of these like punk rock got like nerds, like they're kind of in between both of those groups, it seems like, and they're sort of, well, they're all out of high school, so they're kind of just like living life. Scott Pilgrim does not have a job. They kind of just do this band thing, and they have to go to a party and the lady of the band, I forget her name, gives a quote, at least it'll give us something to complain about. And yeah, I mean, that's a pretty valid reason to go to a party, if I'm being honest. Like, you need a new thing to talk shit about everybody there. I think we've all been to parties where it's just like, it's just you and two other people, you and one other person, you're just gonna go there and like mingle and like pretend like you're having fun, but really you're just like shit on the side. So I appreciated that. That was a funny quote from her. He meets the love of his life, and it's Ramona, this blue-haired woman, not the most attractive woman in my opinion. Sorry to Mary Elizabeth Winstead, but I don't know why he was simping so hard over this girl. But she was roller skating around, and this is Amazon pre now, where Amazon basically rules the world. We all know Bezos got that whatever superpowers, whatever, whatever. But this was back in the old days of Amazon, and so he is waiting at the door, sitting crisscross, and I used to deliver Amazon packages. I know this is a true valid experience of people sitting at the front door. You drop the package off, and then you're walking back to your van. You turn around, the package is already gone. I know you people are out there. There's people who order shit every day. You know, being an Amazon delivery driver really opens your eyes. But he was waiting at the door for the Amazon package. I just thought that was funny. 15 years in advance. Everyone's doing that nowadays. He eventually rizzes her up, and he's got this one line. He talks about Pac-Man, which I guess is like really interesting. Maybe I should bring that out on my dates in the future. But he gets to make out with her on the first date. I know it's that classic sort of question. It just happened to me a couple weeks ago, and I went on a first date. Did you get the kiss? Like, I feel like that's like the standard for some reason. Me preferably, I would take it slow. We don't need to get in my romantic life right now, but yeah, he gets to make out there on the first date, so she's clearly into him. I'm pretty sure they like get naked and sleep next to each other on the first date. So really an intricate first date here from between the two characters. That's when the big twist of the movie comes into play. He has to fight all of the ex-boyfriends in this movie, and maybe I was just taking this movie too seriously, but I don't know. It wasn't like all time anything, even if it was like a goofy movie. So he's got to fight all the ex-boyfriends, and he now has powers on his own, so they all have superpowers because it's a fucking video game, I guess. But he's able to fight back. Chris Evans' character was awesome. He's kind of this like douchey actor guy, and then he like stoops down to fight Scott Pilgrim, but Scott obviously beats all of them. Chris Evans I thought was super funny in his like 10 to 15 minutes within the movie, and then he also has to fight a guy who's vegan. Interesting to see that play out, where this is kind of this kind of does stand the test of time with the Amazon package. Vegan, a lot of people are vegan. He's got to fight this vegan guy by getting him to drink half and half, and then the vegan police show up and take him away. So I thought that was a little funny twist right there. Some of just the dialogue and lines throughout this movie are just so goofy. I don't know when specifically I wrote that down, but it's just, I don't know. These kids are just shooting the shit. It's funny, but it's like, I don't know. This movie's definitely not meant to be taken that seriously. Twist is Ramona has an ex-girlfriend herself, so she swings for the fences in both ways. And yeah, she now jumps in to help against the girl who is coming after Scott. One of the seven exes is now a girl. Ramona jumps in to help that one, so I guess she can't help with other boyfriends, or like feels an emotional attachment to the boyfriends, but not the girlfriend. I don't know what really happened there. And then it gets real off the radars, where we got imaginary demons fighting now. There's twins. At this part kind of lost me. And then yeah, so Scott obviously is able to beat all of them. Meanwhile, Knives Chow, I have to mention Knives Chow, great character in this one. She's kind of been broken up with. She's that high schooler, but she's still pursuing Scott. She starts dating the other Scott in the band to get back at him. So that it was kind of funny to see her reactions throughout the movie. She was definitely like a funny side character in all of this. And then we get to the final battle with the Gideon character. So Gideon was like this big ex of hers that she just moved on from, and seemingly has that like stranglehold over her where she's going to go back to him no matter what. And yeah, we see that play out where there's a physical, actual device on the back of Ramona's neck to make her want to be with Gideon. So interesting little device there. I don't know, that seems unethical, but what do I know? And so we get to the final battle where Gideon handles Scott pretty easily, but Scott gets to regen. I guess this is a video game, so you get to come back, respawn. I guess I didn't pick up on that part, but now thinking about it, makes sense. That's at least that's what I'm going with. I haven't looked at the official like explanation of Scott Pilgrim versus the world. I don't think there really needs to be an explanation on that, but he gets to come back, and then they're like, "Let it go, Scott. Let him have the satisfaction." But Scott's like, "What if I want the satisfaction?" She knows this. Come on, Kid Cudi. Come on. But yeah, I think Kid Cudi loves this movie. But Kid Cudi sample, super cool to see that. I love hearing samples and other things. I don't know if other people like that. I've watched that video of Man on the Moon samples like 17 million times. So to see the actual origin of it and see the movie play out like in context was great. We get the final battle now. It's Gideon versus Scott, and then Knives versus Ramona. So Knives is mad at Ramona for stealing her girl, obviously. And then we get the part two with the rejuvenated Scott. Essentially, they just are able to take out Gideon, get the device off Ramona, and Ramona is going to. It's now Scott Pilgrim's got it all, where he's got Knives Chow, who's this crazy woman who's been pursuing him this whole time. She's got power. She was able to help him out, but he's also got Ramona, the love of his life. Knives, though, at the end does have a change of heart and says, "You got to go after Ramona. You should pursue Ramona. I'm all good here, But I was able to help out. So overall, I thought this was a kind of a goofy movie. It was entertaining throughout. Like there definitely were funny points and definitely funny characters. Like Chris Evans' character was super funny. Kieran Culkin's character was super funny. Knives Chow was like a great character to follow. I just think this movie isn't really something I'm like gonna sit down and rewatch ever again. It's not really my favorite type of movie. So overall, I'm gonna give this movie a 7.3. I feel like that's a pretty fair score. There are just some goofy lines, and like I said, the video game stuff was kind of really annoying to watch. Like the video game animations. Like I don't care if it's an actual video game, but we need to see the Michael Cera piss bar and like health regeneration and all that crap. I was all set with that. So let me know your thoughts down below. What would you guys score Scott Pilgrim versus the World? So where does this movie review compare to the other movies we've reviewed so far? This is the 114th movie reviewed so far. And this is number 84 of those 114. This does tie a couple of other movies at a 7.3, but this is my least favorite 7.3 so far in terms of comparing this to other actors' movies. So Michael Cera, we had Molly's Game at a 7.6, so this is now lower than that. This does beat out Death Proof, which I gave a 5.6. Mary Elizabeth Winstead in both of those movies. Snowpiercer, Allison Pill and Chris Evans were both in that one. I like Snowpiercer better, give that an 8.4. And in terms of Chris Evans, Deadpool and Wolverine got a 7.8, which is better than this one's new lowest Chris Evans movie. This does lose out to Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which I gave an 8.9, and Fantastic Mr. Fox, which I gave a 7.6. Jason Schwartzman in both of those movies. So let me know your thoughts down below on Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Coming up in the Dubcast tomorrow night, I'll have my quick reaction to House of the Dragon Season 3, Episode 6, and then maybe we'll meet with the guests and do a longer live stream to cover that. Silo, we're covering every week as well. The next movie review will either be a movie that comes out in theaters or it will be Drive. So expect those for movie reviews. In terms of sports, we have UFC 330 coming up in August, and then also sports. Really, it's only football, waiting for football to come back. We'll do a preseason pod and predictions on that. So tons of stuff happening here in the Dubcast. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, dislike if you have to. Do whatever you got to do. I'll leave you out with that. And as always, be easy, y'all.